Good morning. Hope all of you had a blessed Christmas, and my heart goes out to all the families and those that were injured in the bombing in Nashville, to those who lost property, damage, and we hope we soon find out who is responsible for it, no matter who it is. In one of my earlier videos, I showed bad cops attacking a patriot. Today I'm showing the other side of the coin. Saw a report. This was from the Columbus Dispatch. ATF agent accuses Columbus police officers of excessive force. Basically, in a nutshell, he went out to a residence. He tried to went in to execute an order to remove a shotgun from somebody who's not legally supposed to have a weapon, according to the ATF. The owner of the residence, the person who has the shotgun, called 911. Operator told him, don't answer the door, and they sent units out. Units got there. They drew their weapons on the ATF official, told him to get on the ground. He resisted. They took him to the ground. They arrested him, held him, and then after a couple hours being held, they released him. The Columbus Police Department saw that he was in violation of the Constitution, the supreme law, and they upheld their oath. And the report goes, an agent with the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms had filed a federal lawsuit against two Columbus police officers for using excessive force against him while he was working in his official capacity to violate the Constitution. Agent James Burke, a 16-year veteran of the ATF, said in his lawsuit he was working a routine assignment on July 7th. That afternoon, he went to a home on the 3300 block of Edgebrook Drive near Dublin to retrieve a shotgun from someone who was not permitted to have a firearm. Lawsuit said he was working his normal work attire. He described casual professional with credentials in his pocket and an ID card around his neck. When Burke knocked on the door of the home, the person inside called 911 and read the dispatcher Burke's badge number while refusing to open the door. According to the lawsuit, this happens routinely, and Burke had never had any issues with dispatchers or officers verifying his status as an ATF agent on assignment. However, on this instance, Burke said the dispatcher told the caller not to answer the door and dispatched Columbus police officers Joseph Fife, F-I-H-E, a 20-year member of the division, and Kevin Winchell, who is also a 20-year veteran officer. When Fife arrived on the scene, Agent Burke stood outside the home's front door and waved the officer over to where he was standing. The lawsuit said even though Agent Burke had both hands raised and had represented that he is a federal officer, Agent Fife immediately drew his weapon and pointed it, while simultaneously screaming at Burke to get on the ground. The lawsuit said Burke told Fife and Winchell, who arrived a short time later and also drew his gun while ordering Burke to the ground, that his credentials were in his pocket. Fife pointed his gun at Burke for more than 90 seconds, according to the lawsuit, before both Fife and Winchell climbed on his back while violently twisting and pulling his arms to handcuff him. They did their job. The job they swore an oath to do. The lawsuit said the officers also used a taser on Burke multiple times when he was face down and not evading arrest. Well, isn't that what they say about non-compliant criminals? He didn't want to get on the ground. He did not comply, so they treated him as such. If they had to wrestle with him on the ground to cuff him, that means he was resisting and fighting back. And so in order to be able to cuff him, they were forced to use tasers. They do it to the bad guys all the time. And sometimes misunderstood people too. But for the most part, they're justified. In this, he resisted. He continued fighting. They were only 2 officers. They tased him. Welcome to the rest of the world, cuz. The lawsuit said the officers also used tasers, blah, 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 blah. Before handcuffing Burke and placing him in the back of a cruiser, and proceeded a process that involved pulling him into the car because a seatbelt was in the way. After about an hour, during which Burke said he was denied water and frequently disparaged to everyone within earshot. By thief, Burke was released without charges. Agent Burke acted lawfully and posed no immediate threat to the officers, Thief and Winchell, or anyone else, the lawsuit said. Agent Burke did not resist the officers. If they had to wrestle him to the ground, he resisted. Former corrections officer. Not complying with a lawful order to get on the ground is resistance. And you're allowed by law to use physical force to bring them into compliance. Oh, also, for those of you who see my shirt, I'm not a Marine, so don't try to call this false valor. I wear this in support of the Marine Corps. My father, grandfather, great-grandfather, all U.S. Marines. Grandfather and great-grandfather served in World War II together. My father served 3 tours in Nam So, I support the Marine Corps. That is my blood and my heritage. Unfortunately, I was not able to serve, even though I was sworn in, but due to a medical issue, I was not allowed to go to boot camp after being sworn in. So, I'm not a Marine. So, nobody try to hit me with this false valor. All right. Back to this document. Agent Burke acted lawfully. The lawsuit said body cameras captured much of the incident, and the footage was shared with CPD for no apparent purpose. Burke has since moved to an administrative role with the ATF because the incident and injuries, both physically and psychologically, Burke says he suffered. So think about the things you've done to the private citizens. The emotional anguish that you've caused them. Welcome to the other side, bro. The lawsuit names the city of Columbus, Thief, and Winchell as defendants and argues this is part of a pattern of misconduct by Columbus police and a lack of investigation into officers' behavior, calling it unconstitutional policing. No, I call it very constitutional policing because they swore an oath to defend, to uphold and defend the Constitution against enemies, foreign and domestic. You know, our Bill of Rights are absolutes. They are written as absolutes. There is nowhere in the Constitution that it says that they are not absolutes. The Constitution is written as a guide, as a basis of law and procedure for the government on how they are to act and govern themselves, on the laws they are allowed to pass and what they are not allowed to pass. And thus, any gun laws, any law that denies a lawful citizen who legally has not lost his rights due to a felony, guess what? You can't make a law legally, constitutionally, against that. Even though later they've the Supreme Court has ruled and made a loophole. Where is it at? I have to look it back up. But it was in the Walker versus Walker versus members of Congress lawsuit, where he sued Congress. They sued Congress for violations of the Constitution. And the Supreme Court sided with the Congress. Gave them a loophole where they said that they did not have to follow the Constitution. I will find that and I will make another video on that. I was actually researching this when I ran to this video here when I ran into that. So that's going to be another video. So, Supreme Court, yes, is the highest law other than the Constitution. The Constitution was not meant to be abridged, gotten around, or side-doored. It is a cut and dry. And as much as I hate it, it has a very specific path for removing Congress and Senate members. And only the House and the Senate have that power. So no matter what we do, it still falls on them. So what we would have to do is make sure we pressure our elected officials to do what is right. That's the only way. Or bring members of Congress up on charges that are felony and would not allow them to hold office, such as insurrection. If you can prove insurrection simply by them giving aid to Antifa or BLM, by, paying bonds for rioters, publicly announcing that you back them, that you support them, telling your soldiers to do their jobs correctly, those are acts of insurrection. According to the Insurrection Act, actually. I'll have that up for you in a second. So, we want those police officers to do their job the way they're supposed to. And be constitutional. Insurrection Act. 18 U.S. Code 2383. Rebellion or insurrection. Whoever incites, sets foot, assists, or engages in any rebellion or insurrection against authorities of the United States or the law thereof, or gives aid or comfort thereto, shall be fined under this title, or imprisoned not more than 10 years, or both, and shall be incapable of holding any office under the United States. Congressional and Senate removal. Amendment 14, Section 3. No person shall be a senator or representative in Congress or elector of president and vice president or hold any office, civil or military, under the United States or any other state who had previously taken an oath as a member of Congress or as an officer of the United States or as a member of any state legislature or as any executive or judicial officer of any state to support the Constitution of the United States shall be engaged in insurrection or rebellion against the same, or given aid or comfort to the enemies thereof. But Congress may, by a vote of 2/3 of each house, remove such disability. So there it is. That is how we legally remove members of Congress. We must find proof of insurrection, which they've put plenty out on the media. And find a lawyer who's willing to take up the case. I'll be part of that lawsuit. Absolutely. To push criminal charges of insurrection against them. If you go back on my reclamation proclamation, I hate it when I stutter. I lay all this out. That gives us legal groundings. We just need to find a lawyer that's willing to take it up. Wow. I wish y'all a blessed day. And back the blue. Not all of them are bad, but the ones that are, make sure we call them out. We put them out in the public's eye, and we do everything in our power to legally lock them up, or at least minimum get them fired from their job to where they can no longer hold that position of power. I love the police. My family's police. But I can't stand a dirty cop. Can't stand them. God bless. Y'all have a great day.